Peace unto you. Emperor Von Doom here. This video is in response to the migrant crisis here in America. There's a lot I want to say, and there's a lot that I'm not going to say. But I'd like to first start off by saying that any people who seek true sanctuary from disaster, war, any catastrophe, oppression, they deserve sanctuary. And as emperor of my own empire, that is something that you're almost not obligated to do, but because human beings deserve to have all their basic needs met. I feel that way. But I also feel that that deservedness comes at a price. You have to do the work to live. You have to show you that you're willing to do whatever it is to sustain yourself and others around you, if you have others around you, meaning family. I've been hearing a lot in independent media, and I've heard some from the legacy media. Somewhat different takes on the situation. And then I've heard from people that are on the ground with the situation. But yeah, if you're coming from a war-torn area or whatever is going on, you seek asylum or whatever, then you go through the process like everyone else does. If there is a catastrophe of like biblical proportions and there's no time to process people, then you bring them into safety and you hold them in a place until you turn that place into the processing place and everybody is taken care of, one or a group at a time. All right. And everybody else is in this, huddled into this one space, and they're given accommodations until it's their turn. But that's not going on. Not that I can see. I normally don't talk about issues involving other sovereign powers. But since this situation has come onto the territory upon which we reside, it's something that I feel I would like to, and I have a right to say something about. And I also feel very strongly about the abuse of Americans at the hands of their elected officials. Now look, I'm no stranger to abuse from elected officials. Yeah, they're all elected officials. I'm not a stranger to abuse from the so-called peacekeepers. And I have no problem with police officers. I had a period in my life where there was always a problem, but I took responsibility for my part in that. And there's just certain ways that you move depending on where you are and who you're around. And I know quite a few officers, and they're wonderful people, and uh, they're they're how can I put this? They are a credit to their profession. They are a reward to their community, only as much as as they are able to perform, because they're under a lot of constraints, constraints of all kinds that I won't get into here. A very stressful job, and it bears on what I'm talking about when you talk about police officers. I've had my share of nasty encounters with them, but again, I'm not going to say, "Oh, those officers handcuffed me and tortured me, so they're all like that." No. Um, but again, it's how you carry yourself. But with this migrant crisis, I'm sure a lot of you know, or probably all of you, know about this attack that occurred in New York City. These migrants, supposedly 6 of them, I saw the video, they attacked the officers. And the officers were, according to the media, they were on a beat, making certain that nothing was going down, because there was activity amongst the migrants involving theft, pickpocketing. There was a knifing, and it looked like signs of trafficking getting set up. So the officers were out there doing their thing, and I guess they questioned one, and it popped off, as they say. The officers are fine, but we know in this country that there are certain individuals, certain groups here, that upon request for ID, reach for that ID, and they're shot and killed. The officer feared for their lives. Individuals are pleading for their lives with their hands up, and they're shot to death. The individual is on the ground, face down, hands up, shot in the back while he was on the ground. And not all of these individuals look the same. The majority of them do. But there are a number among them that, don't fit the usual suspects that are murdered by police officers. And I've talked to police officers, and they say, yeah, that's bullcrap. And those officers should have been dealt with, but, we know that old story. And I've been in situations where police officers could have taken liberty to do all kinds of things, but they did not. They were, in fact, very helpful and on my side. And I salute those officers, wherever you are. And when there's trouble, who do you call? And with things getting as crazy as they are now, you want to be able to reach out to, the ones who protect and serve. I would strongly suggest all of you who are still a part of the system reach out, get to know them, go to your community centers and your community meetings, get to know the officers, get to know the lieutenants. I'm rambling on, I'm getting off track. These officers were attacked, and these individuals who attacked them were released on their own recognizance, and then they fled. Don't know how this will pan out. And again, I wasn't there, so I'm only hearing this, again, from the media. but the amount of people that were allowed in puts America and everybody within the borders of America, puts the populace at risk of unknown disease, at risk of the influx of gangs and drugs. You know, there's a number of problems that this will create. An economic problem as well. And we already live in an economic apartheid of sorts. And now we have this situation going on. And some have whispered and said, and some have yelled and said that this was an attempt to create a brand new worker class because of changes with the population. People are relying on their own wits now, and people are getting more educated. They're refusing to take lesser pay for more work. Don't know. I don't know what the case is. But what I do know is that if they continue to allow the migrants in, it won't end well. And when you have a few bad apples ruin the bunch in America, that can get really messy. And when these individuals, like you say, you have 100, and 10 are, 10 are committing crimes. No, let's just make it 5. 5 are committing crimes. The populace is going to say, look at them. And that 100 will be marred by the actions of the 5. We've seen it here, all the time. Okay, a thug will do something, and just that word thug, that's a code word, for some people for African American male. Okay, and this individual will do something, and they say, look at how they act. And reverse, someone will say, the U.S. government just, carpet bombed this entire village of people. Well, you know how they are. The government? No, them people. White people. So it goes back and forth here. And for these people to have no status, the door can swing both ways. They can cause problems here, and they could receive a problem. There's a number of Americans who are itchy to do something, and with the right trigger, that might happen. And then you've got unregistered, unmarked individuals running loose that can easily get a hold of weapons. And now you have almost like guerrilla warfare soldiers running around. They don't know the lay of the land, but they certainly know they can blend in, and there's people here that might take them in and make contacts. There's a number of things that could unfold. And this video is not about the danger of the migrants. I don't want it to come off that way. But how this jumped off, that was wrong. And the Biden administration, what can I say? Those that put him there, if you don't like what's going on and you put Biden there, well, you're part of the problem, as well as Biden and all the other leaders that take it upon themselves to calculate the people's fate with a stroke of a pen. The people should have say as to who's coming into their neighborhood. You see, Biden is not saying, I'm going to let, 50,000 of those migrants live on my property and let their kids rub my hairy legs. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, hairy legs, they'll like that. Nope, not happening. I haven't heard Kathy Hochul say, you know what? Along with that $2 billion that New York put up for the migrants, I'm going to let them stay at my house. Or I'm going to foot the bill. No. The New York, the people of New York foot the bill. People of Chicago they foot the bill. And yeah, Chicago, they spent 183 million. No, wait, that was another situation. I'll talk about that in a minute. I think they spent 156 plus million dollars, and New York, 2 billion. And it's funny. These cities were the same cities that were talking about reparations for the descendants of slaves here in America. Talking about it, let's figure it out. Well, we'll talk about it. We don't know where we'll get the money from or anything else. We don't know. That's quite a bit of money, And then Kathy Hochul found laying around, I guess, $183 million for compensation for Holocaust victims. Now, I thought that compensation or reparations came from the perpetrator. So, I don't know. Maybe there's more to it that it's not being described, but, we've just found that and voila. So, but you've got New Yorkers, homeless, and among the homeless are veterans and regular citizens. You've got people working hard in Boston, not Boston. Was it Boston? Yeah, it was Boston, I think. It was Boston. A man was, showing how upset he was because he's working, 40 plus hours and homeless. But they come in, they get accommodations, they get, a free place to live. They get the food card, which is between $1,000 and $3,000. I don't know if that is just in New York or is all over, or it depends on how big their family is. I don't know. And the reason I was talking about in the beginning of this video, the being grateful for, I think what was I saying? I forgot what I was saying. But you go into a country and you're running from a catastrophe. Yeah, I was talking about fleeing war or something like that. And when you go to this new place, if you're fleeing a catastrophe and you need resources, human need, food, shelter, clothing, water, safety, and you go and then you show your lack of appreciation If they put you back out, I see that as you kind of asked for it. So a lot of the stories are uh, from various people, even workers with the government, providing them with aid, that a lot of these people don't want the food that they're given. So this Governor Hochul claims that the money card will save New York money because they're throwing away the food. They don't want it. They need to buy food that's culturally appropriate for them. I don't know. I mean, if there are any Americans out there who are immigrants that went through the process, okay, I'd love to hear your story and find out, like, were you given a special card, and did somebody ask you, do you eat pork, do you not, do you need these things, do you not, okay, because even Americans are really not given those accommodations. I mean, yeah, if a marketer says, hey, this group of people are just not eating enough pork, they want some kind of turkey product, so we'll give it to them and we'll just raise the price. But it takes time. But to cater to, I mean, if you're leaving a disaster area, war, whatever it is, and you go to a shelter, and you and your family, or just you, and they give you a bowl of oatmeal, a meat patty, and a bottle of water. Like, yeah, thank you. It's sustenance. You eat it. You say, I don't want that. I want something else. It's like, okay, then don't eat. But it's like these people are given the red carpet. There's something to that. And again, it's not the people, it's not the migrants that I myself am looking at, and I implore you to look at. No. And of course, with them come other elements that are dangerous. Speaking of which, our brothers and sisters in, what is it, Montana, I think, Blackfoot tribe. 6 reservations are dealing with being decimated by fentanyl being brought in by, drug dealers that are also among the migrant groups. This is bad. And again, it's an ugly monster created by various administrations over the years, using people, manipulating things, using cartels, okay, funding this and funding that, back and forth, yada yada yada. Let them in, poison this community, poison that community. We'll decimate these communities so we can control these people. We all know the stories. Even if you don't believe it, you've heard them. Which I don't even know why you wouldn't believe it. I mean, you see them do it all the time. Which is, again, why people like me exist. We build our own countries. We attempt to break away and try to do it better, at least for a few that think the same, that feel the same. Well, this is a special time. You see, this is the fall of an empire. Some economists have said it. Maybe they're just blowing smoke. I don't know. But I could see a lot of change. A lot of bad changes. And if you take a look under Uncle Sam's skirt, you're going to see a lot of ugly, hideous truths. This country was built on blood. A lot of countries are built on blood. And, but This one's built on blood, and then, claims its glory in the name of God, and all these great, great things, but never came to terms with its crimes against humanity. And it's still doing it. It's still abusing its own people. This country is good at hurting its own. You fight for this country, and your rewards, you're lucky if you know, if you fought and lost limbs or whatever else, and you get it replaced, and you have a really, really good life. To those soldiers, blessings. But to those who did not, whether it be because of psychological reasons or something else going on, they need blessings too. And I don't see it happening anytime soon. You see, the powers that were are still, they're going to do their thing until they're gone. They're going to still fight or blame and point the finger, wag the, they're wagging their tail, and then they're directing their assassins to sneak up and kill you. Okay, destabilize your countries, meddle in other people's affairs. Bring democracy to stabilize the world. No. And I know that the people are seeing it now. It's funny what triggers a person. They can be abused all their lives. You tell them to go eat a bug burger, and there's no more steak, and he's ready to go to war. I'm not trying to belittle the situation, but yeah, you have elites trying to basically plow us under the ground. Rumors, not even rumors. You have them even saying openly to your face about population control via certain insertions of things into the body. Weather control. The constant racial bickering and the narratives that they put out there, and they have us all at each other's throats. The justice system is putrid. I think Alvin something, the prosecutor for the migrants that let them out, Alvin Brown, Alvin something. This is the same individual that prosecuted an actor, Jonathan Majors. Prosecuted him, nailed him to the wall for running away from a conflict, basically. I mean, he didn't have any jail time or anything else, but he's lost everything, and to give him, he had to give him something. But these individuals could beat up police officers, and they walk. This individual, wow, yeah, that's a real turd. To do something like that. But I mean, I can get into the whole story about prosecutors. I've dealt with evil prosecutors myself. But yeah, this is an ugly situation, and it's going to get worse if people don't stand up and change things. I'm not a believer that Democrats are good, Republicans bad. Republicans good, Democrats bad. No. I've seen the worst of both. Hence, again, not I'm not choosing any side. Okay, they both eat from the same plate. And you say, no, I've gotten in arguments with people. Well, not arguments. They wanted to argue. I was like, whatever. Like, Victor, you don't know what you're talking about. No, they're not, they don't work together. They've been at each other's, throats for years. The Democrats are for, our people, blah, blah, blah. The Republicans are racist, that whole thing. Yeah, okay. No. The Democrats have a lot of receipts for wickedness. Okay. The Republicans, they're just outright with it. Like, I didn't do anything evil. You're just less than me. So it's like, okay. The Democrats like, oh, we're the same until you need something. I'll use you and then I'll disregard you. Yes. Okay. And you would think, okay, wait, this is a country, two different parties. They may differ at certain things, but when all is said and done, they need to work together. They do, but not in your face. This is all, what's that term? A dog and pony show, something like that. And, like if any of you have been in court or been involved in a legal situation, or known somebody that's been in a legal situation, and you go as a witness or you go as support for them or whatnot, and the attorneys are going at each other in the courtroom, and then when they come out, they are chummy, you know. Hey, Rob. Hey, yeah. Oh my God, did you see that chick? She came out. Yeah, yeah. Hey, let's go get a coffee and this and that, and then they'll be deliberating in a little bit, so we can yeah. And they're like, what? You're like, what? Yeah, yeah. I know some of you have seen that. And they go back in and it's like, okay, Your Honor, blah 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 blah, and they're going at each other. Okay, no, that's just if you're if the individuals that's in there that's on trial is toast, and America is on trial. America is on trial with the so-called two parties. I'm not saying that Trump and Biden are like kicking it, nobody's looking. Okay, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying the parties aren't too different from each other. They make a lot of money off of the people. They make a lot of money despite the people. If you ask the right questions, you'll see the true colors of